go. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Just
All
got
right.
back from a trip with the. Well, actually, it was a solo trip, but it was pretty fun. So,
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Love that. Love to see that. Love to see that. All right. Now that you're coming back from having so much fun on your trip, you're deciding that the first use of your time is playing and getting better at Overwatch, of
yeah.
course. Because that's necessary, 100%.
Well, of
Oh,
course, of course.
of course it is. Obviously. Obviously it would be. Okay, so, before we get started, do you have any questions for me?
Um, I think like I'll bring them up if I like see them in the VOD.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like one of the things I'm playing with, I'm queued with the Tracer and the Winston in this game.
Okay.
And like a problem that we felt like we were running into was like having trouble staging like for the fight
Mm-hmm.
or like finding an opening to like actually get in.
Okay.
Um, so I don't know, some like advice or like help figuring out like how to do that better. Because it felt like when we initiated a fight, we won or like we did well,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't like control the tempo that much.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. I see it. I see it. I see it. Okay. So we're going to be looking at a lot of those things as well. Okay. That's great. Now, okay. General rule. General for you specifically,
Mhm.
because I mean I might kind of talk about some things also for your Tracer and your Winston a little bit, just for my benevolence. But for you specifically, how do you play Genji?
Um. Okay, so Genji has a lot of mobility, and
Mm-hmm.
the dash gives him like some good kill potential. So I kind of like hover around like the edge of the fight,
Okay.
um, until I have like an opening,
Mm-hmm.
or like in that VOD you did with that other Genji. Like once I have a Q, like
Right.
that's when I go in. But I don't
Okay.
want to overcommit until that happens,
Okay. Okay.
and then I'm just like passively building ult
All right.
while
All
that's
right.
not going on.
Okay, okay. So you did see my other Genji VOD, which also happened to be on Coliseum, so you have at least a little bit of you know
I
insight
feel like I
here.
struggle on this map. Every time I play it, I feel kind of awkward.
Okay, well, I've already watched this back, and I will kind of see from from my experience personally, the way your team played this was really really good, except for a few key moments which were just egregiously bad, and then you just get set back
Okay.
like so far, right?
Okay, okay.
So a lot of this will be kind of showing you, some things that we can kind of work on here and there, some things that we can improve and whatnot, and how we think about things and our thought processes here. But also
Hmm.
quite a bit of this is going to be kind of like situations where we want to build our own confidence in what we're doing, and we want us to
Okay.
be like looking at certain things and know that we're making the right decision. Okay.
Okay, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, I probably should have asked this a little bit earlier, but why did you choose this VOD in particular?
Because after we played this match, I just remember feeling frustrated because it I was like it was unclear why we lost. Um and
Okay.
like the way I don't feel like this was like a particularly amazing. Yeah, okay. Also like I felt like my dives were like a little like the overall like the macro of them was not that bad, but I feel
Hmm.
like the micro was. Like I feel
Okay.
like it just could have been a lot more like precise, I guess.
Sure. Sure.
If that makes.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I kind of get that, and those can be optimized if need be, if they are continuously problematic. Sure. Um, but yeah, you kind of said like you don't know why you lost. Like, what do you necessarily mean by when you say like why we lost?
Like it felt like when we called the target and we dove them, then we won the team fight, and
Mm-hmm.
it feels like we did that multiple. Okay, now I know I had my blades in this game were shit. The first one
Yes.
was okay, but the second and the third one were horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
And we will talk extensively about that. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Please. But yeah, it's like I feel like this has happened a lot to me recently, where it's like I feel like I'm playing the game pretty textbook or like overall like pretty structured
Mm-hmm.
well, but then we just lose anyway, and I'm just like, what's
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
All right. Do you feel like if you play the game really well, like textbook really well, in the way that you kind of expressed to me, that it's a guarantee that you would win the game?
No, not a guarantee.
No, right? But you kind of said here that you sent in this game because you don't know why you lost, right? As if there was like a reason. Do you commonly feel that there are reasons as to why you would lose a game?
Like within my own
Yeah.
gameplay. Um, okay, like definitely like I feel like my blades can be a little inconsistent,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like a big like that's such an important part of Genji's kit.
Okay.
Um, so like that I feel like contributes to losses, and then also I guess like not adapting to what the other team is doing.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Sure. Kind of. Yeah. But if we kind of, because if we're kind of saying like that games are like won and lost based off of reasons, right? If we were to kind
mhm.
of go from that perspective, do you feel like if the quote unquote reasons for a loss wouldn't be there, like let's say that your blades were kind of perfect this game, and that
Mhm.
your like your engagements were perfect, and that your mechanics were perfect and whatnot, would you say, barring would you say that just those things alone would be kind of like a guarantee that you're going to win a game?
No,
No. And why would that not be the case?
because I'm one of 10 people in the lobby. Like no matter how well I play, I don't have full control over
Right.
what is happening.
Right. Okay. But does that mean that if we play well, that doesn't mean anything?
Well, no, like the better I play, the more opportunities we'll have to win, or like it
Yeah.
increases the likelihood.
Okay.
It's just never gonna confirm.
I like that. I like what you initially said. I like the better you play, the more opportunities you'll have to win, right? And if you can increase those opportunities to more than zero, right?
Hmm.
And you can take those opportunities, then there's going to be a very high likelihood that you will win games if you kind of play to a really if you play really well, right? Now, the reason I'm kind of going over all of this is because
Hmm.
I looked at your Genji gameplay. Your Genji gameplay is very fundamentally solid in a lot of regards, in a lot of areas, right? There were some times where you kind of made decisions that weren't necessarily the clearest, most obvious throws, right? It
Okay.
wasn't like egregiously, obviously bad decision, but it ended up being disastrous in how in the
Hmm.
effects of it,
Hmm.
right? Which could kind of pull you back. But what I also did notice, though, is that your team was playing this really, really well in a lot of fights. However, you guys hit like a little bit of a snag and lost a whole lot of progress for it every time you did, right?
Hmm. Okay.
And I just kind of want you to be aware of the fact that, like, it's not necessarily just going to be a guarantee in often situations where that we are actually doing something wrong as to the reason as we're kind of losing here.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's just circumstance, sometimes it's things that we cannot control, like our teammates, or sometimes the enemy team is just playing really well, right? And
Hmm.
the thing is, what we need to know though, and what we need to do is we need to be able to kind of take away or to not look at the outcome of a fight to see, or of an engagement, or of anything to see if we were doing well, but more so look at how we responded to the opportunities that were presented to us. And I think that that's a really, really important thing for us to be able to do. And I want to kind of see if I can uh, push that, at least some of that perspective to you a little bit here. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So let's kind of keep going here and look a little bit more this way. Now, we asked about how you play Genji. Okay. Now,
Hmm.
how do you position on Genji?
Um, I want to I because I have a lot of mobility, like I want to take off angles
Mm-hmm.
and like just poke people out. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, I want to position myself like right at the end of my dash range
Okay.
most of the time. So that way if an opportunity does present itself, I'm there and I'm ready. Like I'm a threat,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like at I think it's like a 15-meter dash. But
I
like
think
kind of
so.
hovering around that range.
Yes. Okay.
So that like I'm close enough to dash but no closer.
Right. And why would you want to be hovering at that range?
Uh because it is putting me at the least risk
Mm-hmm.
while still allowing me to put pressure on the other team.
Okay. Okay. All right. I see that. I see that. Is there any situation in which you would want to get closer?
Yeah, we are if there's like an opening to like dive somebody, then I want to get in on that person so that I can like right click melee, like blow them up, or try
Okay.
to.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Sure. And what about
yeah, I'd say that's like the most common.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What about situations with which you would want to be outside of that dash range?
Um, if my team is not with me, like if I'm kind of alone,
Mm-hmm.
then I would just want to be in like a really safe position and like
Okay.
just be like left clicking and not even be within dash range.
Okay.
Like that's what I would want to be far is when there's no way that I'm gonna be able to get support.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No. Those are some pretty pretty well thought out concepts there. So we want to play on it. We want to play on an off angle. We want to play our distance. Now, is in terms of like exact positions around the map that Genji likes. What is Genji like? What kind of space does Genji want to play in?
High ground.
High ground. Yes, that's definitely a big one. Well, what else?
Um, like around corners.
Okay. Okay. Around corners. Right. 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 Okay. So let's like ask if like we were talking about high ground around corners, right? Like this is kind of high ground and and kind of around a corner like right here. Is this would this be like a if like we were trying to go and fight for people that are kind of like farther away, right? Like would this kind of be or would this kind of be a type of space that I could potentially fight for, right?
Yeah, I think this second position that you're showing would be
Right.
better.
Right, but like, and then that's what I'm about to get to. Why is this better than this?
Because I can't really. I feel like I wouldn't be able to dash on somebody, and also I'm kind of like, I'm assuming like my team is also like where these guys are right now.
Okay.
So then I'm like shooting from the same spot,
All
so it's
right.
less for them to worry about.
Okay. Maybe. But even if your team wasn't, what makes this position up here better than this position? They're both high ground, and I'm not saying that the difference is in the
Oh,
type of verticality, but there's going to be some difference in the type of space. What is it?
uh, was it the health pack?
No, nope.
Uh,
Let's just think about it. Let's just think about it. Okay. What? What's this hero right over here?
Imre.
Emre,
Hit
right?
scan.
Okay. So if I'm fighting an Emre, but let's say this is like Schrodinger's Emre, and he could be pretty much anywhere around this area, around this area that we're kind of fighting in, right? Which position gives me more chances to fight the Emre in a space that I like to fight, right? Over here or over here?
The right side, because it's just a closer range space. Like those pillars are closer to
Yes,
us.
yes, exactly. So this compresses the number of positions that the enemy can poke at me outside of my effective range, right?
Okay.
In
Yeah.
comparison to this. So when we're thinking about the types of spaces that we want to take, we're thinking about types of spaces in the form of like, okay, what gives me my effective range better, right? This would be better than this. But also verticality, because, I mean, you have the ability to wall climb, you might as well use it, right?
Right.
Okay. So we're talking about off angle. We're talking about playing at appropriate distance. We talk about, playing to space that we like to control, and we'll kind of see how we do that and how we achieve that. And we'll look at positional examples later on.
Okay. Can you pause it for a second?
Yes.
Uh, that just reminded me of like another thing that like I feel like my neutral game is like I don't most of the time I feel pretty comfortable as Genji in the neutral.
Yes.
But sometimes once a team fight actually starts, I like kind of get lost.
Okay.
and I feel like a better like at a higher rank I would get punished for it more
Okay.
often. I guess I'm not completely sure about that, but like I feel like there's probably a good few times where I'm like in the team fight and I like don't have cover or something like that.
Okay. So are
Um,
you lost as to what to do in the team fight when it happens, or are you lost in terms of like I'm not set up in a spot for me to actually be able to do anything?
like I'm not set up in a spot. Like I
Right.
generally know who I want to target. It's just I'll like maybe like we'll dive somebody and they'll like jump away and now there's like this awkward a bit of space and like it takes us a little longer to kill them than I wanted and now I'm like trying to figure out like assess which target is the next like best person to pick.
Okay. Okay. All right. It's perception shift time. It's perception shift time.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So I assume that all three of you were kind of in game, and you were saying, okay, we're going to call a target. We're going to dive this target together. Three, two, one. Dive the target, and then whatnot. Is that going to
Mhm.
be generally speaking how you believe dive to be played?
Yes. My understanding of dive is like you are like mobile characters
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of like um try to like position yourself into your like kill range, so like Winston jump range,
Right.
Genji dash range,
Yes.
and like as soon as you find somebody that's like vulnerable enough, then like you call that person and you jump on them and you like blow them up.
Okay. All of what you said was great except for that last part, right?
Okay.
Okay. Is calling targets really valuable and really powerful? Because you know, everybody shooting at one person is going to be, really easy for us to blow them up. Yes. Is that your priority? Abso-freaking-lutely not. Okay. And here's the important thing.
Hmm.
Let's say I'm not with my monkey and my tracer. Let's say I'm
Okay. Okay.
over here, right?
Hmm.
And Tracer and Monkey see this soldier walking alone out here, and then they call, "Jump soldier, jump soldier, jump soldier." Am I going to be able to am I going to dash over here to try and fight the soldier?
No.
No, absolutely not, right? Because I'm not in a position to do that. Okay?
Hmm.
So what happens if we are here to dash onto the soldier, right? But
And I'm with my. Oh,
okay, yeah, and you're with your team, right?
mhm.
And you're in a position to dash onto the soldier. But then let's say that you're kind of over here or something, or well, not, I wouldn't necessarily say over here. Let's say that the enemy team's not there and you're kind of over here, right?
Mhm.
And then instead of just a soldier, right, there's like an M ray that's like low HP that's right here, right?
Mhm.
And your team says to call soldier, dash soldier, dash soldier. Would you dash the soldier or would you dash the M ray?
Uh, if I can like one shot him with the dash, then I want to say Emre, but otherwise Soldier because he's more isolated.
Wrong. I don't care if the M ray
Okay.
has full HP, right?
Okay.
What's easier for you to deal damage to? The soldier or
The
the M
Emre.
ray? The M ray. So that's what you should be dealing damage to. The M ray,
Okay.
right? When it comes to pressure, me dealing damage to the M ray and zoning the M ray isn't killing the soldier directly, but it's making him even more isolated and easier for me to kill.
Mhm.
Easier for him to die, right? The way that the pressure works in this game is that every single hero is connected to each and every one of these heroes. This soldier is relying on all of his teammates, right? Which are being threatened by all of the enemies on the enemy team, which would be your team, right? And
Mhm.
every single thing that you do to affect soldier's ability to be able to support his team or to be able to deal damage to your team is going to be helping every single member on your team and is hurting every single member on his, right? So that would be the same
Mhm.
thing to an M-Ray if the M-Ray was here. It is going to be helping every single member of your team and hurting every single member on his because he cannot support anyone, right?
Mhm.
He cannot support anyone if you are kind of hitting him. And if he can't support people and he can't support people, neither of them can support people, neither of them are also going to be dealing damage to anyone, right? Which is going to be able to
Mhm.
help your entire team as a whole. right? For instance, if this diva were to chunk off all of your Winston's HP and your armor, how easy would that make it for you to be able to dive somebody in backline?
Quite hard.
Right? Because now you don't have your monkey. Now, did she directly kind of hurt you? No, but she's hurt your ability to actually kind of do any damage into backline because you have a lot less support now, right? So
Yeah.
if all of these people and players are interconnected, then how do I decide who am I going to shoot and what am I going to apply pressure to? Well, then the answer is what do I have to expend less in order to do? Because then that's just going to give me the highest amount of pressure over time, right? And when we're talking about expending less, we just go with what is the easiest thing for me to shoot right now? What's the easiest thing for me to deal damage to you right now? So if there's Lucio was 1 HP, and you were right here, what would I shoot? Would I shoot the Lucio that's 1 HP or would I shoot the diva that's in front of my face?
Uh, the ooh.
Right?
Well, I guess like the diva is the easiest person to deal damage to in this
Yes.
position.
Yes. Right? Now, because again, Lucio's 1 HP. Let's say, well, I wouldn't necessarily say 1 HP actually, because that's, then you could like dash him and then dash out. But if he was like above, he was like half health, right? But he was still kind of lowish, right? I wouldn't shoot at the Genji. I wouldn't dash into the Genji, not the Genji, the Lucio. I wouldn't dash into the Lucio because then where does that put me, right?
Right in the middle of their team.
Right. Now, can you, as Genji, dash into the middle of the enemy team, do a whole bunch of damage, and then live? Yeah, because you have deflect, and then you can just dash, do a whole bunch of damage, pop deflect, and then run back out, right? That's one of the advantages that Genji kind of has, is that he can do that if the timing is right for it, right? But why would I do all of that when I can chunk off Demon Armor really easily? Right? And then we kind of think about it this way: if everybody's like, okay, wait, squishies are going to be easier to kill than Diva, so let's kind of kill the squishies, and no one shoots at Diva, then what's Diva going to do?
Just fly into somebody and rocket them and just blow them up.
Right, fly into somebody and then blow them up, and then you're letting that happen, right? Even if people are killable over here, if it is easier for you to deal damage to this diva, this will be helping you in the long run as well. Because what happens when you do a whole bunch of damage to this diva? Well, this diva needs to get healed, right? And if Mizuki over here has to choose, I think maybe this would be a distance where he would have to choose. If he has to choose between healing his diva and healing like his Emre or his Lucio, right? Then that makes it a harder decision for this Mizuki to be able to actually support him and his team, right? So all of the pressure that you are doing is still going to wrap around back to you and benefit you in some way, shape, or form. Just go for what the easiest thing is. And oftentimes, because of how the game is played positionally, it's not going to be all of us jumping on the same target to try and kill them. And that is a really, really big misconception about Dive. Dive is not about jumping onto the enemy backline and killing everything. Dive is about map control. And in order to get map control, sometimes we have to push out the people who are in positions of power first before we are able to dive backline.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
I thought dive was just jump on their backline and that's how you play it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. It's a lot more complex than that. And this is an
okay. That makes so much more sense, because there have been so many times where it's like, man, we're just like not quite close enough to jump their backline. Like, how do we, like, this is such an awkward, like, how do we get there? But if that's not our end goal, or like if that's not the thing we're only looking for, that makes way more sense.
Right. And this is also just like a thing that I like to tell like monkey players as well, where it's like backline is not the only thing that you can dive. You can dive frontline. Like, that's a thing that you can do. Because again, what happens if they're fronting an Ana and your monkey jumps on top of this diva and then pops bubble? Can diva stay in this position? No, because she's not getting Ana heals. Right? So she has to run back. But what does her running back and running out of the position allow your team to do? Take more space to dive backline. Boom. Right? That's just how that works. That's how that interaction works. And it's a really, really important and impactful thing to kind of understand, is that we want to play for getting the easiest value that's available to us, and we want to play to set ourselves up in a position to make getting value easy, right? So
Mhm.
we're going to be focusing on doing a lot of those things. Okay?
Okay.
Now, we kind of go and jump the soldier and try to clear out the soldier. Why? Because he was easy, right? But is this soldier now the easiest thing for us to shoot at?
Oh,
Right?
Lucio's kind of coming on the right here.
Right, Lucio's getting close, Diva's getting close, so we can turn our attention away from the soldier and go to Lucio. But no, we're not killing the soldier, we're not killing the soldier. Man, that sucks, we can still get the kill. What else did we get? What of the things of value did we just get just now?
We push the soldier off this angle.
We got the angle. We took this space, right? We have a better angle to shoot at backline, right? And so we took off a whole bunch of soldiers' HP. He has to get healed up now, so that's taking attention away from his supports, right? There's a whole lot of things that we got off of that trade, not just let's try and see if we can extend for a kill, right?
Okay, okay.
Okay? But again, we kind of ignore the Lucio, we kind of ignore the Diva to kind of keep running in for backline, and so we lost a little bit of damage there. Now, is that horrible? No, I'm not gonna. That's kind of a little bit nitpicky at that point because that was a small little window, right? But
Mhm.
at the same time, that could be something that you can look at. That could be something that you can try and pay attention to, right? Now, when we're talking about Genji micro in particular, right? This is something that I see pretty often with a lot of Genjis that I see a lot of Genjis do, and I hate this to no end, right? This deflect, right? What is this a deflect
Mhm.
achieving?
Like not that much.
If that's the
I
answer that
was
you ever give, then you should never use the deflect if it's like not that much. Yeah, no.
all right. My objective. Yeah. I guess I do this a good bit. If I think I can, like sometimes you pop a Zarya bubble because you think you're gonna take damage. Like if I think I can block a significant amount of damage, then like I'll go for like an aggressive deflect like this.
Right. But at the same time, is there a reason to be putting yourself in this position to be taking this damage in the first place?
No, I absolutely do not have to be here.
Yes, yes, right. And a lot of the times, Genjis and Zaryas in particular, and maybe Sigmas too, they think that they're doing this so that they can help themselves kind of live in a certain situation for longer, but they don't realize that they're subconsciously pushing themselves into these positions to get into these situations in the first place because they see, ooh, funny damage ticks when I hit deflect value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have a reasonable certainty that you're going to be getting a pick or getting a good trade off of a deflect, I would not be deflecting in main like this, right? Now,
Okay.
let's think about it. When would we want to use deflect? What does deflect do?
If I get any situation in which I feel like I'm gonna die from getting shot, like it can help me live longer.
Okay, so it alleviates danger, it helps you sustain longer, right? And
Mhm.
also it can deal damage, right, to people.
Right.
Okay, if you have a reasonable kind of chance to kill them. Now, when would those factors be, extremely valuable for you, or in more kind of like a better sense of saying that, where would you want to use deflect?
Um, maybe just behind this corner, like if I backed up like 5 feet.
If you backed up here, would you? No, no, because what are you getting out of this?
Yeah. Okay. Not a lot.
Okay, right. Let me ask you this: if you were right here in front of the Mizuki's
okay.
face, right, and shooting at the Mizuki's face, you would want to use deflect here, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
What makes this deflect better than this one?
Um, I am a little more isolated now, and like I have less cover, so I kind of need it to keep me alive because otherwise,
Nope, nope,
I'm
nope. That's not it. Not it.
okay. Okay.
Not it. No. Because again, if that's the case, if you're trying to use it to defend yourself, then you wouldn't be in this position in the first place. But why would
Okay.
you be
Okay.
here? Why would you be here?
Because we're trying to kill one like Mizuki or Imran.
It doesn't matter
Or
if,
like
if,
diving.
if this is Mizuki. What if this was Diva, right? What if you weren't going to get the kill? What is still valuable about being here now despite all of the situational context?
That I'm like we're kind of pinching them positionally, like
Right.
I'm
Is
behind them.
this a good position for you and your hero?
Yes, I think so.
Yes. Can you do a lot of damage from here?
Yes.
Can the enemy do a lot of damage to you to force you out of a position like this?
Also yes.
So what button do you have to allow you to maintain this really good position for a longer
Uh,
time?
the deflect.
Exactly how we want to think about using deflect,
It helps me hold this space
right?
longer.
If you have a very valuable angle, very valuable position that you want to be able to deal damage to people and hold, that is when you would use deflect, right? And now, could this potentially stop you from like do damage to the enemy team? Yes. Could this potentially stop you from dying? Yes, right? But at the same time, can we just, instead of putting ourselves here, put ourselves here, or at least here, in a position where we can actually do something valuable? I would rather here, though, but because this is a bit closer. But can we at least put ourselves in this position to actually do something valuable? Yes. And once we put ourselves in the positions to do valuable things, then it doesn't matter how we use our cooldowns, because we're always going to be getting value out of it. Right? So if you want to think about your deflect and you want to think about how you're using your deflect, I want to use my deflect when I'm in a position of power, right? So I'm thinking,
Okay.
get myself into a position of power, use the deflect when I'm in it, right? Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
also, you don't have to. This is not something that you would want to do often, but you do have another cooldown in your kit that can allow you to get into a position of power, right? In the form of dash, right? What else could also get you into a position of power without using dash?
Wall climbing.
Or just using your legs, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just walking, you know, right?
Yeah.
But in a sense, if I'm kind of like if I'm kind of just thinking about it, like I just want to get into a position of power. If my dash can allow me to get into a position of power where walking won't let me get there, or if I don't have the time for it, I can dash into a position of power, use the deflect while I'm there, and secure the kill, or I can use the deflect to get out of a position if I'm going to be in significant danger. If I am doing so because me having the deflect on my person allowed me to get aggressive in the first place. You get what I mean? We are trading our cooldowns for long-term value, and the number one thing that's going to tell you when you're going to get long-term value is if you're in a good position to get that value. Right?
Okay. Okay.
All right. So we can look at some of the things like that as well, right? But now we're kind of getting a little bit into a situation where it's like, I'm here, right, with my monkey. Now, your monkey really should not be walking backwards right now. But
Wait. Sorry. Can I going back to the deflect thing? Can I just like explain my understanding of what you just said and
Yes,
just make
yes,
sure
yes,
that
yes.
Okay. This deflect is not very good because I forced myself into this position when I didn't have to at all, and now I don't have deflect to help me hold space, which is bad because I could have been like on the left or like behind them more
right,
and applied more pressure, and it would have helped me like hold that position longer.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly, verbatim, right? Which is literally what I was just going to say just now with this. Right, where you could fight this angle, fight this Lucio, start shooting damage to this Lucio, and if the enemy team all decides to look at you, then I could deflect in front of the Lucio's face. Now, what's the difference between me deflecting back here and me deflecting in front of the Lucio's face? Do I have a high chance of killing this Lucio?
Yes.
Yes, because you're right in front of his face. I am at my effective range, which is an incredibly important thing to understand when you are to understand how, when a position is good, right? So it's like, am I in my effective range? Yes, that's one of the pillars of being in a good position, right? Am I in a space that complements that effective range as well, right? Okay, this is good. This is good. Love it. Love this. Right now, your monkey is kind of trolling a little bit, but we're gonna ignore that for now. Right? Love this. Love this. What's the problem?
I think I just did the same thing again, where I just like I could have just played cover better instead of like jumping out and deflecting here.
Right. But more importantly, what did you just give up?
Oh, I gave up the like off angle.
Right. You just gave up the off angle, so now you can't do anything to this Reaper or to this Lucio. Now, would it have been probably a little bit problematic if you had tried to do things that Reaper and that Lucio being right now? Yes, because your Winston is kind of nowhere to be found at the moment. But at least if you were going to try and back up away from this angle, instead of going back into main, right, you could just do this. Right? And now you keep the angle as well. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you this. Lucio is fighting you in this tight little area, right? Right. Okay. Is this, if you had deflect, a position that is worth using the deflect?
Can you zoom out? I want to say yes because I'm on the opposite side of my team, so we have like they have the 180 to look at both of us. But my team also feels like a little far, so I feel like
Yeah. Your team is a little bit far.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. I should use deflect like.
I would say yes for all intents and purposes right now. I will say that your team is a bit far. They should not realistically have been that far, but you know, it's reasonable at this point to be able to like kind of try and hold on to the space. Now this is a bit close, like you did say, so you would probably try and make some more distance, or at least hold here instead, right? But fighting this Genji kind of makes a little bit of sense. Actually, no, it doesn't. No, I should have trusted my gut instincts. Right, you're right. This is too close. This is way too close. Right, because your teammates. I don't know why your teammates ended up that far away in the first place. Yeah, your monkey just overreacted. Whatever, it's fine.
That is something that I feel like we've had trouble with is like dealing with Reaper. But I know in the Winston vid that I watched, you were talking about like you don't really change how you play. It's just the Reaper makes it so there's less room for error.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
so like right there, like we respected him too much and like gave up too much space for him.
Right, because if you think about it here, Winston has bubble. Not number one, he's not in a great spot because he really should be controlling this angle. But this is going to be something that if he was in a better position, it would definitely be worth bubble forcing out this Reaper, because then that just gives his team all of this space kind of for free practically, right? Now he doesn't need to he probably would not need to pop bubble here. I'm not entirely certain, but at least the trade would have been fine. At least because it allows him to hold on to this position for longer, and it stops you from getting isolated. But there was a lot of things. If we're talking from a team perspective, that just went like horribly, completely wrong here. But we're going to focus on you for now.
Right? Okay.
But if we're talking about the type of space, yes, this is good. If we're talking about the angle, yes, this is good. If we're talking about the distance, no, this is not. Now, I'm assuming that you watched my monkey video. So you watched my video about staging, right? Okay. Now, I kind of want to ask some questions to gauge your understanding of staging and understanding your distance management, understanding of your distance management as well, right? Okay. So, what do you know from that video about staging so far?
Staging is like for when you and your team position yourselves so that you have an advantage once the team fight actually starts.
Okay, sure.
So you are like getting into your effective range.
Okay, sure. How do you stage? Right? How do you know where to stage?
I guess the way I think about it is like you want to cut up the map, like you take pieces at a time, and you like take pieces at a time until the enemy is like forced into like not so good of a spot, and then that's when you initiate.
Okay. Now, I want you to be so real with me right now, and I want you to answer me. Do you yourself even understand what all the words that you just said even mean?
No.
Yeah, absolutely not, because I would not. All right.
Okay.
Now,
Okay. Okay.
okay, this we kind of got gathered was a bad staging position for now. It shouldn't really have been realistically, but it ended up being a bad staging position. Right?
Because of my
Why?
distance from my team.
Right. For distance from your team or distance from the enemy team? Let's think about that.
Oh, ooh, distance from the enemy team.
Right. Think about it this way. Okay. So, and why is your distance from the enemy team problematic?
Because I'm if I like stay here, then I'm just taking like a 1v5, or like they can just like all run over.
Right. So if you're here, and we kind of said earlier that you're too close, right? And that you're kind of going to be in a position to take like a 1v5, right? Now, let's say, okay, holding onto this angle, being on this side of the map, I put you back here. Are you going to die now?
No,
Is this a good staging position?
no.
Why?
Because I'm not like yeah, I'm not gonna die, but like I'm also just like not playing the game over here. Like I'm not.
Right.
I have no line of sight. I can't put any pressure on anybody.
Right. And why is not being able to play the game right now an important thing?
Because we like everybody's up. It's like
So what's gonna happen? What would happen if you're back here?
my team is weaker than their team.
Okay. So sure, your team's quote unquote weaker than their team, but what is going to be the direct consequence of you being back here, or even worse, if you're like back here?
They're just gonna take a bunch of space.
Right. They're gonna trade into your team, and then your team's gonna get run over, 4v5, right? If I'm all the way back here, so I'm taking a 1v5 if I'm over here, right? Because I'm really close, and the enemy team's going to my team is going to be taking a 4v5 if I'm back here. Now, if I'm up here, right, in the current position that I'm at, why is the enemy team going to decide to walk on me as opposed to walking on the rest of my team out there?
Because they have to expend less resources to do that to me.
And why do they have to expend less resources in order to do that to you?
Because they have like this space. They have this cover on the right, so they can kind of just shoot
You're
me.
overcomplicating it. Overcomplicating it.
Okay.
Bunch of stuff
I'm
that does
closer.
not matter. You're closer. Yes.
Okay, I'm close.
Right. You're closer, so it means that if they're deciding to walk on who to walk on, and besides like this diva, of course, these guys are gonna be like, oh look, there's a Genji just right here. Let's go walk on him. Right. Now, if you're kind of back here or all the way in the back of spawn, right? Who are they gonna start walking on? You or your team?
My team.
Your team. Why?
Because they're closer.
Because they're closer, right? So they're going to decide to walk on whoever's closer, right? Now, we talked about why. So if you want to avoid, if you want to go avoid getting walked on, then right? Then what needs to make sure? What needs to happen?
I need to dash to my team.
Oh no! You don't need to dash to your team. Just think about it from a fundamental context, right?
Okay.
If you get walked on because you're closer, right? Then if you don't want to get walked on, what needs to make what
Then I
needs to
sit
happen?
back up a little bit.
Right? You need to not be closer, right? Okay, but we
It
don't want to
increases the
be
distance.
back here. So what's wrong with this?
This is outside of my effective range. Like, I can't do anything over here. Meaningful.
Sure, I'm gonna say that is true, but that's not the reason why this is true. Because there's gonna be a lot of situations where you're going to have to be outside of your effective range.
Okay.
But what's the problem here is that again, your team is close, so they're going to walk on your team. What happens if they start walking on your team? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna have to like run all the way over there. I'm too far to
Right.
my team.
Okay, but if you try to run out of the way over there, what are you going to be like? Able to actually make the fight 5v5 in time?
No, I'm gonna be too late.
Right, because it's going to be really hard to change your position from being so far away. Right. So we don't want to be far away because the farther we are away, the harder it is to be able to change our positioning to move with the fight. But we don't want to be too close, because if we're closer to the enemy team than our team is, then they'll just walk on us without our team being able there to be able to do anything. So then, exactly how far away should we be?
Mm, like a specific part on the map right now, or just
No,
like
just in
a
general. In general, how far away should we be?
the same distance as my team is from them.
Exactly, right? Because that's as close as you can get without getting walked on, right?
Hmm.
So if we're going to, and that's going to be the basics of kind of understanding staging, because like of course we want to play in positions that are comfortable for our hero and our effective range. We want to play on off angles, right? But mainly we want to keep that distance similar. So how are we going to keep that distance similar?
By
This is where you make it more specific.
okay, now I would either use deflect to walk back or like dash to a little farther away of cover, like right
Right.
here, or
Right.
like I would dash to the left.
Okay. If this was earlier and you kind of recognized this sooner, you probably wouldn't be here. You would just walk back. Right.
Hmm.
Okay. But you need to kind of be you need to kind of back up here. Right. Now, okay. This is kind of going to be a little bit more. This is just kind of like something that you want to just keep in the back of your mind, right?
Okay.
When it comes to staging, and when it comes to how I'm going to stage for a fight, right? The most important thing is not dying. That's number one, right?
Okay.
But we also want to get some value out of the fight as well. So you want to try and see if you can find a position that is far enough away so that don't decide to walk on just you, right? And then
Hmm.
so then you can kind of sit there and you can kind of like wait and stage for the fight. Now, are you in your effective range in a position like this?
Not quite.
Not quite, right? So let's get closer. What happens if we get closer?
Now I'm the easy choice for them.
Right, you're the easy choice. Okay. So then if I'm not, if I'm kind of like is stuck in a position where I, kind of am outside of my effective range, but I can't get closer, what do I need to wait to happen? What do I need to wait for?
My team
Your team to do what?
to close the distance.
Right? Because then the closer they get, the closer you can get. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So if all of these kind of things taken into account, we stage in a space that is comfortable for our hero at a relatively good distance, then when do we rotate to the next position? When do we move up?
Once with my team.
Right, once my team gets closer. Right? Boom. Now, okay, you mentioned getting isolated as being an important thing, right? Let me kind of explain this from a little bit of a different story. Okay. From where I am right now, am I safe from this diva?
Not really. No.
Not really. But am I inside of the diva's effective range?
No.
No. So
She,
but
she
why
has
am I
to fly
still
over to me.
why am I still not safe? Because she can fly over to you. Right? Okay. So when we talk there's a certain concept that I like to talk about that's called reach. Right? And it's essentially
Hmm.
how far they can extend to be able to hit you and be able to deal damage to you, right? Now, you kind of talked about it a little bit when it came to your positioning as well, like being outside, just right outside of dash range, right? Or right inside dash range, to be honest, because that's when you can dash and then get your effective range right afterward, right? And then that's going
Hmm.
to be that distance. What essentially happens is that if I am within this diva's reach, right, and I'm playing in a position that's kind of within the diva's reach, then the diva can still decide to kind of walk on me and clear me out and push me out in a lot of instances, even if I am at the same distance as my team. Now, if my team now, right now, the thing is, if my team had kind of like didn't have the ability to kind of extend and punish that, right? Because they don't have the reach to be able to actually do things. Then, like, let's say that my Winston over here was like a roadhog or something, right?
Hmm.
Then this diva would just like find me and clear me, right?
Right.
Right. So then where would I have to be? Even farther than that, right? Like outside
Outside
of
of
the
her
range,
flight.
right? Outside of the diva's reach to a degree, right? What happens
Hmm.
if I need to get closer to the diva and her reach? Because right now I'm really really far away from the fight. being out here.
Uh, I need to look where my team is, and if they're closer, then I can. But if they're not, then I need to chill.
Right. But at that point, if you get any closer and your team still isn't in their reach yet, then again, she can just decide to walk on you. She can decide to fly on you, and you're cooked. Right. So you would have to wait until exactly when your team gets within reach, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so your team's in reach now. What do you do?
Uh, now, now I would walk up,
Yeah, and then I walk up and I walk up and I walk up and I'm here,
and
guys. I'm here, guys. Oh, guys, what happened? You see what I want?
like it would take too long
Right.
for me. Okay.
So, what's the solution? How do I make sure that I can get into a range where I can contribute to the fight, even when the enemy's reach is bigger than ours?
Uh, I need to be with my team from the
Why
beginning of
would
this
being with your team? Why would being with your team make this easier for you?
because I have other people to support me. Like I can get healing. There's other people that they have to shoot at.
Right.
Uh,
Because then
it's not.
you're
I'm
not
not free
isolated.
anymore.
You're not isolated. Right?
Mm.
That's the key idea. Okay. So at what distance from my team would I be to be with my team?
Mm, within my reach.
Well, if you're with, like, let's say that I'm playing, Tracer or something, and my team is still going to be like the Roadhog team, right? Would
Hmm.
I be able to reach my team from here?
Yes.
Would they be able to reach me?
No.
So would I still be getting cleared out of this position?
Yes.
Right? So then what's the other answer? How do
I just have to like just play really close to them,
Yeah, and what is that
like
distance? What distance does that need to be?
close range, like really,
Okay, okay.
like in the group,
In
in
the
in the.
Right, I gotta play inside the group. Right, is this Tracer in the group right now?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah,
Or
in general
she's
sense,
like
but
super
that's
close.
right. But that's all. That's kind of general. That's kind of general. That's kind of general. What do we? What's the big idea? What is the kind of thing that happens here? If I need to be in a position where my team can support me. What determines the range at which they can support people?
Their reach, their
Bingo.
range.
Right. So if I need to kind of have a Trojan horse in order to be able to get into the enemy team's reach to avoid being isolated by the fight, then I would just stay within my team's reach to be able to
Okay.
get closer. And that's the big thing. That's how that's how you would want to play this. So there's kind of two ways that you can do this. You can play split or you can play stacked. If I'm playing stacked, I'm playing within my team's reach, so that allows me to kind of play closer up and play in positions that are more towards my effective range while being in the reach of the enemy team without having to fear getting walked on. But if I
Hmm.
play far outside of the enemy team's reach, I'm now split. I'm isolated. But what I can do, what's the benefit of actually? Let me ask you, what's the benefit of being isolated, right? What can I do being split from my team that I can't really do as much when I'm stacked?
Uh, like I can pressure from a different angle.
Yeah, yeah, you have way better off angles and way better control of space, right? But what that means is that you need to manage and be able to manage your distance very well, right? And if you
Okay.
can't, then you play here.
Okay. So in this situation, I'm wanting to play with my team because there's no way I'm gonna not be within this diva's reach. But
Okay,
like I,
to a degree, right? But what we don't want to do, we don't want to just talk about specifically the Diva's reach. We want to talk about the enemy team's reach as a whole, right?
okay.
Now, if they were running Ball, Tracer, freaking Vendetta, or something like that, then being here, I would just get murked, right?
Hmm.
Especially if my team's reach was lower. But right now, if we look at the heroes that they currently have, I mean, they're not a low reach team, not by any means. But it's not necessarily going to be so significant to the point where you're going to be getting hit by 30 different people at the same time. Plus, the most important thing to understand is that your team is also able to get within their reach as well because they are so high reach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tracer, Juno, Winston, right? So if this diva decides that my time is up and she runs at me in order to try and force me out, first of all, I can dash away, making even more distance. And second of all, my team just dives, right? So this puts her again in another one of those catch-22s. So if we talk about that situation, is me being here that bad of an idea?
No, because then
Because,
they have to make a choice.
right? Because I'm still out of the enemy team's reach as a whole, right?
Mm.
Right, and that's the idea. So I can play split back here to a degree. It's not going to be perfect, but at least this becomes a harder choice because my team has the ability to kind of hit them in the back as well, right? My team's reach overlaps with theirs and also overlaps a little bit with mine, right?
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, we talked about a whole lot of stuff here. um, So I'm going to go and try and see if I can get a little bit deeper into the review and try and explain these concepts so that, you can kind of understand them a bit more. But
Okay.
in that last Genji review that I did on Colosseo, the Genji that I was coaching was playing a little bit more stacked with their team than taking like these really, really big split off angles. And the main reason was because it was just going to be a lot easier for him to get into his effective range when he's playing within his team's reach in those contexts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you dash back, you dash out, and then this kind of sucks, and then you kind of just need to run out. Okay, yeah, whatever. Okay. If we're talking about this position that you're currently at, does this feel good for you and your hero?
Yes.
Yes. Why?
Because I'm with my team and like this area is like kind of scrunched, like the area a little like more on the
Mm-hmm.
like on the left. Um, and like it would not be very difficult for me to like close, like just to walk over and like get into a good distance.
Right, right, right. So this is a really good staging position for you for that reason, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to ask you this question because I want to kind of gauge your understanding of this, at least not right now, right? Why, if staging is about distance, right, and like kind of keeping that general distance, right? One of the big things that you hear when you're talking about staging for Genji, staging for Winston, staging, like they always talk about verticality and high ground, right? Why is high ground so powerful when it comes to staging?
Because you're hard to push, like get pushed,
Yeah.
but it's like all you have to do is walk off the edge to like go in. So
Right.
like you kind of have more say in like when the fight starts.
Exactly. Okay, you do have more say in when the fight starts. That's a big part of it. Yes. But if we were kind of collapse it to like an idea, right? If we were looking at this Mizuki over here, which I'm not even sure is really Japanese because apparently he can't climb walls. Um, but if we were to look at this Mizuki over here, right? If I wanted to get to this Mizuki again, I would just drop and I would just walk at him, right? But if this Mizuki had to get to me, then what would he have to do?
You have to go like all the way up the stairs. Like it could take forever.
All the way up the stairs. So effectively, if in effect, is my distance from this Mizuki the same as this Mizuki's distance from me?
No, we're close to him and he's far.
Right. And that's a distance cheat code. And that's why high ground is so powerful, right? Because I can essentially have the benefits of being close to the enemy team and the fact that I can move with the fight a lot easier and a lot better, adjusting my positions a lot easier and quicker, right? But I also have the benefits of being far, which is that I don't get pushed as easy, right? Now, again, against certain vertical characters, you still have to watch out for that. But what is the power of still having that verticality over characters like Reaper and Diva. Now let's look at Reaper for example, because he's kind of proving my point just now. Why is you being up on high ground so powerful against a Reaper?
They have to expend resources and like cooldowns to contest us.
Yes, they have to expend resources in order to contest you. Now, which character doesn't need to expend resources to contest high ground?
Genji!
Don't you think that's kind of strong?
Yes.
Right? So we can see how we can use that as well. But this is cool. Pretty good. Good staging. They come and try and fight you, so you fight them. You should fight that, yes. Fight that. I see your attention is kind of getting drawn back to main. I think your team is trying to prepare a dive or something.
Yeah, like during this game, like my understanding was still dive is like we all jump on somebody as soon as we like. So I'm right now thinking like, okay, I'm just like trying to stay alive and like not let them have too much space until we like see somebody who's a good target.
Right. I want you to take that first part of that, because that first part of that is perfect, and I want you to amend it. So you want to stay alive and not let them have too much space, so that what?
So that
instead of getting a target, what do you want?
I want more space?
Yeah.
Or
what kind of space?
I want to like keep holding this high ground.
Well, no, because the high ground, they're not here. They're not on the high ground. But
the off angle, I want the off angle.
Right, you want a strong off angle on what space though?
On the space that the other team is trying to contest.
Or like, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it matter who you shoot that's in this space?
No, because whoever I'm damaging, I'm affecting all of them.
Exactly. But you're concerned about getting the space. So if you're thinking about getting the space, you should be fighting this comfortably for free, because you know that the next place that you go from here is going to have a whole bunch of targets, a buffet of targets for you to choose from. Right? Mm-hmm. So you need to be uncomfortable with knowing that this is a really good spot to control, and then once I push them out of here and once my team is ready, then we can just go and choose what the heck we want to do. It doesn't have to be that big of a deal. Right? And this is not just a dive thing. This is a thing with all compositions. Right? All of the compositions play this way. Right? So fight this, fight the Lucio, fight the Diva. Do I like that deflect?
Yes, because it helped me maintain the space.
Perfect. Perfect answer. Do I like that dash?
Yes.
Why?
Because he was closer to us than the rest of his team.
And that like is that is, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit, but that is a perfect answer, because it is so much better than, oh yeah, I can get a kill, right? But
he isolated himself.
Free isolated target that we can dive, right? And now that we're here, we just control the rest of the space, which I love how you execute this. This is really well. This is really good. Right. But of course, Reaper just, did some highway robbery.
yeah. Well, okay, this is like maybe a dumb question, but I remember us talking about this after the game. Like, should we have like all turned around to like stop the payload?
No.
Or
no, it's just like put like one person on the payload if you can. Like if there's like Tracer is available and like we're going to win the fight, then like just throw a Tracer on point and then just have the rest of everybody else just clean up the fight if necessary.
Oh god, I have ult. No, this one, I don't think this one was that bad, but the other two are.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's stuff I can learn from this too.
What is problematic with your current positioning right now?
I'm a little far.
Right.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Like I'm not quite as close as the rest of my team is.
So we can try and rotate. If you want to commit to this side of the map, I think we can try and rotate like deeper this way, which I think is fine. Okay. And then we can just let your Winston, your Winston Tracer kind of take this out here. Like that's okay, and then you can just like deepen this way, but you want to make that rotation start walking up a little bit, because you trying to walk up now when it's a little bit later this is another important kind of thing, is that uh, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but a big part of the reason as to why you're taking so much damage right now is because of the fact that you're not on an off angle, right? And a lot of the times you'll see this. Two of the biggest symptoms of having an off angle problem, kind of like the symptom of being too far away or being too close, is that like you get pushed out by like 30 people, right? A symptom of having a poor off angle is that you don't get to see anything and shoot anything impactful, and you get hit by like 30,000 damage, right? Because the importance of the off angle is to be able to split that attention, not being in the direction where all of the damage is already going, and also being able to control space that other people can't see, right? So the thing is, like, you're not in a good angle to kind of actually do any damage that's meaningful right now. And also, you're in a direction where all of the damage is already going, so you're taking a whole bunch of poke, right? But then the second thing... Oh, you were saying?
Oh, no. I was just... That makes sense.
Okay, yeah. And then the second thing that we also need to consider is beyond just being... I don't think that it's that big of a deal right now. But when you do want to peek the enemy team, you want to peek the enemy team at a time in which your team is also peeking as well, right? Because that way, because if you peek the enemy alone, solo, it's effectively the same thing as being on main. Because your angle now becomes main, right?
I get 100% of their focus versus like 20%.
Right. So those peaks were just a little bit poor, and now you took like way too much damage on this walk up, so it was just an inefficient walk up, right? But again, you are thinking about going and diving someone and getting a pick. What should you be thinking about right now?
Like this Reaper is way closer to us. Like he's
no,
kind of
Reaper's dead.
Like
Reaper's dead. The second Reaper's dead. What should you be thinking about?
The guy behind me.
Well, no, we don't know that there's a guy behind you.
Oh, okay,
right?
Okay.
But we still should be able to deal with the guy behind you, because what should your priority be in this moment? Is there space for me to take?
Yeah, we're a man up.
Right.
So we should be able to press them.
Right. But more than just be able to press them because they're a man up, there's more space for me to take to use. Right? So we want to take as much space as is available. Now, do we want to stay outside of the enemy's reach until our team is ready to go in? Yes. But is this going to be outside of the general reach of the majority of the enemy team?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then go. Right? Problem is that we're not thinking about where our next step and our next position that we need to be is, and then we get hit from the back because he takes the space that we didn't. Right?
Oh, okay.
Okay, now we take more space, Right? Shoot that, that's fine. Keep going. That was close. And just well executed. You see, how were you able to get these kills so effectively, right? Right? Like, think about it. Like, not only did they kind of walk into you, but, like, you're in a good position to be able to get these kills, right? Right? Like, I guarantee you that not everyone on your team can see this D.Va. Like, if we look at your Juno, like, the Juno can't see this D.Va. What about your Music? Can your Music see this D.Va? No. Right? Can Tracer see the D.Va? No, because she's doing something else. What about Winston? Winston's the only other person who can see this D.Va, but can he actually do any damage to this D.Va? Not really.
Not fast enough to stop from meching.
So if I'm playing in a position that allows me to actually do things, then I can use the position that allows me to do things to do things. Right?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk? Right? Okay. Is there more space for me to take?
Yeah, I can get on this high ground on the left.
Then take it. Right? Because we could take it, and then we can just start shooting. Now, there's going to be a bunch of space. There's going to be a bunch of times where we're going to be stopping, right? Now, biggest thing is when we stop when we get too close, or we stop when we get too far, right? Because if we get too close, what happens?
Then it's easy for them to kill me.
Right, and if we get too far, what happens?
It's easy for them to kill my team.
Right. Okay? So, we just try to play and keep that similar distance. But apart from that, if our intention is to get a better angle, we also need to keep what true as well. Beyond just our distance, what else is true about our positioning or our staging that we need to still keep, you know, pretty strong,
Um,
right? What types?
sit.
What does Genji want for his positioning?
I want high ground,
Right? You want high ground. And what else?
and I want cover.
Yeah, cover in what respect? Right? Because we remember when we talked about these two positions beforehand.
Cover that like makes the angles close range.
Right. Does this give you that?
No, this is
So
about as open as it gets.
right. So where would you stop?
Here.
Right. Just here, poke. Right. And then that should tell you how to rotate. Always take the space. Stop when you hit those roadblocks. Right. Okay. This is fine. We like this. We like this. We like to see this. I wouldn't just immediately drop off initially.
Okay.
Right? But we drop and we run back. This is also an incredibly important thing, right? Why do we not stay here?
Because we are much closer to them now. Like there are like 4 people pushing us, and it's only me and Winston
Yeah.
up here, and the beats, and they're using ults.
Okay. Right. Sure, they're beating, they're using ults and whatnot, but more importantly than that, beforehand, right here, are you super close right now?
No.
No. Okay.
Now we're getting
Right.
like now we're pretty close.
Right. Did your positioning change?
No.
No. But what did change?
The enemy team's
Right. So if the enemy team's positioning changes, that means our positioning needs to change along with it. That's just an incredibly important thing to understand, and that's a Q2 dynamic positioning, right? Changing your positioning and your distance management based off of the positional changes of the enemy team, right? So, okay, this is good. You adjusted fast enough. Your Winston did not, but whatever. Here's the important thing, though, right? You ran back this way. So the enemy team got really close to you, so then you ran out of your position, right? What did the enemy team just do?
They just all dove my monkey.
Right? So what does that mean about your positioning right now?
Now I'm like really far.
Now you're really far. So we need to be able to adjust that fast, right? We're here. Now we're too close, so we back off a little bit. But once they start moving away, now we got to go right back and take that space back.
Okay.
Right? Which is hard to do, again, because you don't have perfect information. But again, it does just depend on how you dropped here. Because you dropped, like, kind of clearing the space out completely, as opposed to dropping with the intention of retaking it. Right? Which is how you really should.
Okay.
Okay? Then you see your monkey fighting people over there. Now you should be going right back up here. And then where do you go once you're here?
I'm gonna go left, and I'm gonna either try and push this Mizuki off, or like kill him if I get like the opportunity to. But at least like push him off this position.
Yep. Okay. And then what does this position give you a perfect staging for you to do?
To then like jump on their team from an off angle and like.
Yeah. But what's
like,
that funny little button at the bottom of your screen?
Oh, my ult.
And what funny button do they not have anymore?
They don't have beat.
Right? So if you're looking for a time to blade, you want to put yourself in position for a blade when it's time to blade. Right? And even especially if you had executed that properly, you probably could have still gotten a good blade off even if you're down 2. Right? Because realistically speaking, you still have Juno, you still have Tracer, right? I think you can get trades here. At least like trades that are decent. If not, then you want to just not do the blade, then sure. But the idea is that I can trade the better positioning for a good ultimate later on, if I see the opportunity to. Right? Even if I'm down players. Okay, yeah, that's just an unfortunate
The
dash.
fight could have been winnable if I had executed that.
Yes.
Properly.
And even if it wasn't, then Mizuki could have been coming back from spawn. Okay? Is there more space for me to take?
Yeah, the space on the right.
Space on the right. Could I potentially also take the space on the left?
Yes, which would be better for my character.
Maybe. right? This could be better for your character. This is going to be better for the off angle, right? To be honest with
Yeah, I
you,
guess I would rather go right.
okay. To be honest with you, either one is going to be better. I would generally go more for the better space that's better for my character and prioritize that over the off angle, right? It's just that
Okay.
this also will give you good space that's going to be good for your character. Plus, you can jump and skip over all of this space with your ultimate, right? But the key is, if you have to choose between an off angle and space that benefits your hero, always choose the space that benefits your hero, because you're going to be a hero in this space. You are not a hero if you're out in the open,
Hmm.
right? Okay. But the key idea here, more space for me to take, let me take it. Right? Don't dilly-dally, don't dilly-dally, right? Blade goes off. Why is this good blade timing if you watched my Genji VOD last time?
Uh, because our team is in position, like our team is in reach of their team,
Mm-hmm.
and also I dashed up, so they're not looking at me, or if they do, they have to like break their crosshair
Right?
and look away. Like my team is pushing at the same time that I am.
Right. Teams in reach, good off angle, have the ultimate button. They don't have beat. Have fun. Okay. But now, if we look at this in terms of target priority, what is going to be the easiest thing for you to swing at?
Uh, the Reaper.
Or, well, Reaper's kind of in wraith, but you have Lucio, you have Diva, you have Reaper. Those are three options. You want to know what is not in one of those three options. It is not the M-Ray.
Okay.
Right? And the reason why I say that is that if you are here and you want to change your swing position to go to someone else, if you need to, how easy will it be for you to do that?
Very
Very.
easy.
How easy will it be for you to do that over here? Not very easy.
Not. Yeah.
Right. Now you're
Okay.
still going to win this because their positioning at the start of this fight was absolutely egregiously horrible. But it's something that you can think about. And if you are here to start swinging at these guys, and you can make this guy lower HP so that your team could potentially kill him, or if that does happen and he does respond with ult, you can just dash out and then try and dash to something else. Right? But this is well executed. When the fights get really brawly, I think you execute them really, really well. So there is that.
Okay.
Nice.
I would say like the like going for the easiest targets also is like makes sense. Whenever I blade, I guess I'm like I never want to hit the tank unless I like that's the only option.
Right.
But if they are like really easy for me to hit, then that is still beneficial. Like that is still what I should be doing,
Right.
right?
Right. Now, if there is a tank and there is a squishy that are both at the same distance from you, then you would choose the squishy, obviously, because that's just easier
Right,
for you to
right.
kill, right? But if the tank ever becomes easier for you to shoot at than the squishy does, then shoot the tank,
Okay.
because it's all going to wrap back around. Now, there's going to be some exceptions to this, and some exceptions are going to be when you are absolutely certain that the thing is going to die, right? If you can go in and do something stupid, but you are absolutely certain that the thing is going to die, then you can go in for it. That's called cheating. I talk about it a lot with Tracer VODs, but I can talk about it with Genji as well when it comes to his dash, right? You know the certain situations where you dash straight into the middle of enemy team to kill confirm because someone's 1 HP. Yes, you can do that, and that is fine if you are certain that they are going to die. It is still not the greatest, but you can do it if you're certain they're going to die, and if you have the tools to do it, like deflect. Right?
So like Nano Blade kind of like lets you cheat then, or like
Yes, it would be hard to consider it cheating if it's Nanoblade.
okay.
But yeah, I guess that could be a perspective to see it.
Like,
I
because
think
like
so.
I'm certain if I dash slice somebody, assuming I hit both of those, like they're gonna explode.
Right. And then at that point, if they're within dash distance, then they're even easier to kill than a tank that's right in front of your face, right?
Okay.
So I guess so. But the idea behind it is we don't want to chase for kills. We want to go for a lot of other things like space and resources and angles
Whatever
and
is
stuff
like the
first, right?
like
But
guaranteed value.
yes, yes, yes. If getting the kill is going to be like guaranteed, we can forget all of those things and go for that kill if we are certain it is going to work, because that can give us a very long return on investment, but it's risky. So we don't always do that until we have good information first. Again with these
Okay,
deflects.
useless deflect.
Yes. Okay. Now, is there an argument that we can climb up here? I would say so.
Okay,
Right?
okay.
Because, I mean, Diva is here, but neither of these guys can actually interact with the space at all. I mean, Emre probably could try. I don't know if Emre can jump up here, though. He can maybe he can do it with like the mine, but if he does do it with that, then we have deflect. Or we should have deflect.
Yeah, I
Right?
wasted it, but ideally I do.
And then we can just, like, fight people up here, because this is more space for us to take. Right?
Okay, and I can just like if the diva like flies up to me, I can just dash away.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Now, do we want to dash away if the diva climbs up on us? No. But I think that we would be able to do this because we're going to be, our team is like close enough to the enemy team to actually kind of afford this to happen. Afford for this to happen.
Okay, okay.
Right. Okay. Hold this angle. Hold this angle. Hold the angle.
Okay, I saw him and I got scared. I was like, oh
Hold the
shit,
angle.
like he's like I don't want to play close to a Reaper. I guess that's what my thought process.
You force Wraith, and if you have the deflect ability, which you do now, then this is easy. You just dash him with dash fan, hit another fan, and then pop deflect, and he's going to use his Wraith form, right? And then once you use his Wraith, he uses his Wraith form. You go back to your team, and then have your team help you clear him out if he stays, or if he doesn't stay, then you take his space, right? Same thing. It's just that this is a fight that you can win. It's going to be hard to win because it's he's one of the strongest heroes in the game at controlling the space, but you're playing Genji, which is like the hero for dueling these types of heroes, right?
Okay, okay.
Like Reaper and Junkrat are the strongest characters in the game when it comes to tight and closed spaces. Genji is the one hero that you can use against those characters to actually try and push them out of those spaces when he has deflect, right? So that can work, but this is cheating.
I'm just ignoring him and like skipping over.
Right? And what is Reaper now allowed to do to your backline, right? Now, does he do this well enough? No, because if we look at what he does, he does the exact same thing. He cheats too, right? He literally could just walk on this Juno and then just cook her, but he's just like, no, I'm just gonna, yeah. What were you saying?
But I gave him that opportunity. Like he executed poorly, but I gave that for him.
Right. You gave him the opportunity to do that. Okay. Now we can go a little bit faster than this. This was pretty well executed, but again, you just ran beyond the Diva to go right back for the Mizuki when you can still do a lot more damage to this Diva, chunk her armor even harder. Right? Make it harder for Moira to be able to support her.
I remember this. I think the reason I skipped over, and I'm not defending this. This is like what was going through my head. Yeah. Like we had called to dive. Like that's why I ran past the Reaper and ran past the Diva. Was like in my mind I was like, this is the target I'm going to. Like this is the only person that exists in my mind right now.
Yeah, and that is absolute bull. Whenever your team is going to do that, and this is something that I always talk about in team plays, team play will always make target calls. It is your responsibility, right, to ignore your teammates when you have a better thing to do, right?
Okay.
You have to, because if you don't, you're throwing their games.
Okay.
Right? So that's an important thing to note. And also, of course, your name is Peel's Good Man when we're talking about going back to get hitting targets for your team. Oh my gosh. That's so ironic. This is really funny. Okay. I don't like this position, to be honest, because if we're talking about our current positioning, this is honestly too far, right?
Okay.
This
I
is
could be like where Tracer is,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, yeah. Because this allows you to be closer. You have the opportunity to take more space and be even closer because your team is there to support you. So you can be kind of where your Tracer is. I wouldn't want Tracer to be here necessarily. Tracer could probably control this space out here probably a little bit better. But this is not bad either for either of you, right? But like just literally control here because then where could you go from here later on?
The top right, like in the window.
Right. So this is literally like your spot on the map. Right. This wall right here is like your wall. Like you should write your name on it, honestly. But being back here puts you far away from home.
Okay, okay.
Okay. And then Diva goes and does a thing, and we're not able to immediately take advantage of that. Your Tracer is able to do things though, which is great. But this is going to be like one of those situations that we're talking about, where it's like, okay, now that you are here, what is the easiest thing for you to do?
Attack this diva.
Diva, Reaper, right? Don't
Yeah.
skip
Either
over
one.
this to go for this, because these guys are not even in the fight right now. You being over here is giving them something to fight.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Now we kill this.
Damn it, I really thought that was like the good decision. Okay.
Yep. Your Mizuki also almost died as well. Again. Right? Things to fight. Reaper's back here. Now, why would I go for the Reaper and not go for this space up here? Right? Why would I go for the Reaper? Now, I didn't know that the Mizuki was right there. Right? Generally speaking. But why would I go for the Reaper instead of the people that are up here? Right? Because the Reaper's close. Right? You got what I mean? Okay.
Yes, that makes sense.
Then from after you kill that Reaper, you can go back up here and then secure a better angle for something later. Okay. Now, I'm about to show you something extremely funny, but now I hope that you're going to be able to understand the mechanics of this and analyze why this happens. Okay.
Oh, God.
All right. Now, is this extremely unlucky? Yes, this is extremely unlucky. I will not deny that. But can you diagnose two potential problems with your positioning that causes this to happen?
I'm like, they have nothing else to be looking at when I go up here.
And why are there what are the two reasons that they have nothing else to look at?
Because I'm going away from my team by doing this. Like, I'm going to the high ground when the rest of my team's on the low ground. Okay. So, like, effectively, there's, like, a lot of distance there.
Okay. Sure. Kind of.
And... I guess I am, like, peeking out of cover.
Okay. So if we're talking about this, distance isn't necessarily what I would say. I mean, yes, it is kind of true, but you're in a range in which you can be heavily supported by your team, if anything else. This isn't you getting walked on by people, right? This is I walk out, I peek out, and I just get absolutely obliterated situation, right? But I did talk about something earlier on, and I said that a symptom of a certain problem that you would have with your positioning is that you get hit with a lot of random spam damage, right? Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, that was like a symptom of like a bad off angle, right?
Where is the entire enemy team going to be looking?
Like right there.
Like right there. And where are you climbing up right into?
Like right into their crosshair.
Right. So if there is going to be any situation in which the most unlucky thing is going to ever happen to anybody is going to happen to you, it's going to be right here. Right? And you walked right into it. Now, what is the second problem? Right? What's the other problem? Slightly less of a problem, but it's still there.
I am not. I'm doing this alone?
Yep. What else do they have to shoot at?
Nobody.
Nothing. Right? So even if you were on an off angle, like this one, If nobody else is doing anything, then they can all turn their attention just to you, right? So for those two particular reasons, this really, really unlucky death happens. But it's a little bit less unlucky than you would think, right? And now we can kind
It
of
could have been
identify
avoided.
Yes, it can be avoided, but now we can kind of identify it a little bit better. And that kind of throws this fight hard, because you're the one with Blade. And also that makes, like, how many fights in a row that we just have not popped Blade yet.
I wasn't looking at the thing. I honestly.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know. I wasn't looking for it either. All I'm saying is that in the game, like, if you have an opportunity to Blade, just pop the Blade.
Okay.
Right. Now, there's going to be a lot of times where you don't have an opportunity, which is fine. But once those opportunities come to you, the more blades you pop is the more blade value you're going to get, and that's the more blades that you're going to build. So, just, like, do it. You know? Like, I don't like when people, like, talk about, like, holding and saving on the ultimates, because they're just not that strong. It's not that valuable to, like, hold on and save your ultimates at that point, because pressing the button doesn't win you the fight. The positions, the space, the angles, those win you the fight. Pressing the buttons when you have those things just makes it more guaranteed. Right. Okay. I like this. Like this. Like this. Okay. Do I hate you popping Blade here?
No.
No. What is the problem with your Blade?
I don't have enough information
That's
on
one.
on
Big
where
one.
they are.
Big one, right? But more than just that, what else could be problematic, especially about this?
The Winston just jumped in and like under my whole team, so like we could all shoot the Winston, but I'm the only person who can deal damage to all these guys in the backline. So like I'm isolating myself right now.
Not only are you isolating yourself, let's look at your positioning currently. If we're just to take a snapshot of your currently, what two things, actually three things, are really wrong with your positioning right now?
Okay, one, I'm far from my team. Like
Right.
I'm out of
Yeah, sure, you're far from your team, but being far from your team is fine, but we're not necessarily what?
when we're like actually taking engagements.
Right, when you're close to the enemy. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So I'm out of my team's reach, sure, but I'm also inside the enemy team's reach, so that's a problem, right? Because my distance sucks because I'm way too close. Okay? So that's one. What else is a little bit problematic?
I used my dash on this guy, but it wasn't like a confirm. So if he has like, if they have any way of getting away from me, like now I'm just not really gonna be able to do anything.
Sure, that's true, but that's more of like a micro error, and I wasn't necessarily asking really about that. I'm talking about mainly in terms of your positioning, right?
Okay.
Because there's two.
They can all like they're all looking at me. Like they have cover from my team.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're all looking at you. Yeah, so I guess this could be considered a timing issue, sure, but that's not necessarily mainly based on positioning. And if we're kind of like talking about the positional sense of that, then yeah, we kind of covered that with the distance. But there's two more kind of facets of your positioning. Remember when we were talking about all of the facets of positioning? There was three of them that we were talked about. Distance was one of them. What are the other two? When we were talking about your staging, right? What were the other two?
Distance, cover, and high ground.
Okay, so I wouldn't say cover and high ground. I would kind of meld them together, and I would talk about like the types of map space that you were in, right? Or the term that I would call it is map architecture, right? And about your map architecture, it's basically, are you playing in a space that on the map that benefits your hero in terms of your hero strengths? Is that going to be true right here?
No, this is kind of open.
Very open, right? Okay, so that's the second problem. What's a third problem with your positioning? More rather, where did you come from?
I came from my team.
Right. So if we're talking about something that could be problematic with your current positioning, what is that?
Uh, that I'm far from my team and close to the enemy.
Well, yeah,
But
sure,
we already
but more particularly, did you change direction in any sense from where your team is?
no.
No. So if these
This is
guys
like
wanted,
straight on.
yeah, if these guys wanted to prepare in any sense for the blade, they would know exactly where to prepare and they would know exactly where to go. Right? Which is going to be away from your team. Either way. Right? So if you're playing on an off angle and you started to blade from here, then what ends up happening if you blade from here?
Now it's a lot harder for them to be ready for it.
Right, hard for them to be ready for it because they have to be looking at you. But what happens if they look at you and they run away from you? Where are they going?
Going closer to my team.
Closer to your team and not looking at your team. So off angle poor, map architecture poor, right? Distance poor, informational, necessity poor. Your mechanics of this are poor. I'm not trying to beat you down here, but like,
Yeah, it was a bad. Yeah,
yeah.
No, I mean, it was
all
bad.
of these things just culminate to a horrible, horrible outcome. So when we look at these things, there's a lot of a lot of factors that we can think about, but I don't want you to go back on that and just say, oh, that blade was bad. Because a blade being bad doesn't tell you anything about the blade. Now we know what are the things that we kind of failed at when it came to this blade, right? In a lot of senses. Okay? So how would we have tried to execute that blade better?
Okay.
Assuming that we still were here.
Okay. Well, first of all, I don't even think I should pop it quite yet. I think we should, like, kill this Reaper, which I think we do, but, like, I feel like I should be helping make sure he dies first.
The blade can help with that.
Okay.
Right. That's fine.
Sure.
If you have the opportunity
Okay.
to use the blade against something, then use it. Don't wait.
Okay. I need to, like, take some kind of off angle. So, like, maybe I drop down to the left
Okay.
and, like,
Sure.
turn on the back.
Right.
here.
After what?
After my team also drops down on them.
Right. So well, we can probably drop a little bit earlier, but mainly we just killed Reaper. What else can we deal with the blade?
We can kill the monkey.
Right. And then once we kill the monkey, then my team can move. And now that my team moves, they're probably going to move, out here in this direction, this general space, right? So then I can try and go from this space over here and then push them into my team in that regard. Right?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? But it's going to be a lot easier now because now my team is going to have the ability to actually walk on people because they're not dealing with a Winston. Right?
Okay. So these people, like, being, like, this Reaper and this monkey being a little closer to us is like play this position and, like, kill them before we move on, but use my blade to do that.
Yeah.
Because they're right here.
Because they're right
here.
Have it, and you have it. Yeah.
And why not?
Why not? Yeah. Yeah. Right?
Okay.
Is there more space to take? Well, no, because there's things to fight. So fight the things and then take the space later. Right? And these guys pretty much gave themselves up to you on a silver platter. They should not have done this. Right? You just punish this and then you just go on to the next thing. And then if you're going on to the next thing with your team, it's going to be less likely that you just get, ulted on, blasted, and die here. Because now you have the rest of your team to go in with you to kind of hold on to that. And especially if you do go in now, instead of diving straight into the middle of the open, maybe just go like here so that you have more cover and a better space for your hero to complement your effective range. Right? And then just start swinging at people and then use cover as necessary. There's a lot of things that you can do to kind of make these blades better, but they're all very simple things, just stacked on top of each other. Right? Okay, let's kind of speed this up because we've kind of been at this for a little while. Okay? About your current positioning right now. I'm gonna kind of rewind a little bit. right? About your current positioning right now, right? What do you think?
I think this is like not a very good angle because I don't see anybody. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm not really applying any pressure.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, that's what I think about this spot.
So, can you change your angle? What position would be better than this?
Uh, like going up to the high ground. No, but then I'm like much closer to them than my teammate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, if my team pushes up, then like moving up and taking this high ground on the right.
Yeah.
But if not, then go left and like get this room on the left, and then
You're already here.
um
You're already here. Okay. So let's say you start walking over here to get to this room on the left, right? Technically, this is not making more distance per se, but it's still taking time, right? Time
yeah,
that
I
your
guess
team is
that
going to
would
be
take a
moving in
while.
and shooting at things, right? So it's going to take a long time to like rotate and make this rotation over here, right? So if we really think about it, is your position right now really good? No. But is there
No.
much better options available for you right now? Not really. So I'm fine with something like this,
Okay.
right? But once we have a position, once we are able to get closer, then we can. Okay. Now, this was an interesting decision to try and go underneath. You got spotted. I don't mind this because this is like trying to get close and using the fact that they don't know where you are in order to be able to get close. You can try and go for that, right? But you got scouted, so it is risky.
Okay.
It's just that you hit a really interesting deflect. If only you actually aimed that one. You know? All right, that's funny. And then that was cool. That was cool. Right? But now is your team kind of there? A little bit.
I am like a little far there.
A little bit far, but the thing is, like, if we're talking about the main fight that's going on, it's over here. Like, Reaper's up here, Winston's over here, Juno, Monkey, Mizuki, Tracer are all back here. So you being over here, you're far from that. But who else is also far that you can punish?
Mizuki. He's the
Right,
closest guy. He's the easiest guy for me to shoot.
right. So you just punish that, and you start shooting at that. Fine. Okay. And then you just shoot more things. And like you see this, right, where it's like, okay, now I'm here, and I'm like, okay, I can go and run at Winston. I mean, sure, we can shoot at Winston, but Reaper's also here, Moira's also here, so they're all pretty much at the same distance. We can just choose what we want to do. We chose the Reaper because we thought it was easy to kill, and then we just executed that really, really well. That was such good execution, right? Then we just go and find the next thing, and we found the next thing, and we just find the next thing, and it's that easy, right? It's that simple. You've got really, really good execution when it comes to these mid fights, right? Just get yourself in the setup to do it, right? Okay, is there more space for you to take? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now let me ask you this question. Ignoring the information like ignoring the fact that you weren't necessarily paying attention to what was going on, what should you be doing right now?
I should be like assuming I don't know the Mizuki is there or
No, you know where the Mizuki is. You saw the Mizuki on your screen, right? But if we're ignoring information here, if we're ignoring lack of information, right, then what should you be doing? What's the
I
closest thing?
the the Mizuki? Oh, I did not see that Winston. I'm not gonna lie. Okay,
Right.
Winston, he's right
But
there.
but you not seeing the Winston is the problem. Cause where's your team? Is your team like kind of
In
close
main.
enough to be able to kind of deal with this Mizuki? No. Do I have to rotate through open space in order to get to this Mizuki? Yes. Right? Is this Mizuki far enough away especially in comparison to the distance between me and him versus me and the rest of the enemy team. Yes, this Mizuki has good staging. This is what good staging looks like. If you try and go and hard push this guy, you're the one who's going to end up with the negative end here, right? And so now if you try to do that, you're going to be ignoring the Winston that's just kind of going in and doing his own thing. Right? And now you even see the Winston. You even know that he's there. But you're saying, oh, look, Mizuki on his own, but you're not paying attention to the distance. Right? Are you ever really going to be able to push this guy? No. Right? But what ends up happening is that your team gets low HP, right? Moira ends up in your backline. Mizuki ult gets forced. Primal gets forced. And you've done air in that meantime. Right? So this is why we go and look at things based off of what is the easiest, not, ooh, what's going to give me the most value here, or, ooh, like, what's going to, what should I be doing? I should be going for the backline, going for the supports, the squishies, right? Just go and shoot the things that are easy. This is easy. This should be in your face. You should do that, then you don't go and do this, right? Now, it doesn't end up being consequential to you, but again, later on, when you get higher up, it will be, right? And again,
can you pause it for a second?
Yep.
Okay, so the Mizuki being there, I still see that as like a bad position for him because I don't see how he's like really. Okay. My understanding right now is like that's a bad position for him to be in because he's not able to help his team at all. But the way I punish it is not by going to try and kill him. It's to abuse the fact that he's not there to fight the people that are closer to me.
Right. But if you look at this Mizuki's distance, right, versus his team's distance, his team, once they get closer, he can start getting closer too, and then dealing damage that way, right? So he can just walk out here. Now, is this going to be the biggest position for him to be able to take? No, but he can take it comfortably with his, whatever the heck that ability is that allows him to kind of like TP back.
Yeah, like TP.
Right. So it means that he could get into your backline from here, and then dive your backline. I don't care if he is a support. That's still going to hurt, right? But then again, there's better and more important things for you to be doing right now. So can you really kind of punish this? No, you have to punish the things that are going off here first, and then punish this later. Now, this Mizuki screwed up because he said, "Oh, this feels a little bit dangerous, so I'm going to run away," as opposed to realizing that his position right now is extremely strong, and now he's making even more distance for himself, not even allowing himself to be in the fight when it starts. Right? So again, another situation where there was just a mutual screw up from both of you.
Okay.
Right, but again, really good execution on these mid-fights. And, I mean, you tried that, but you have deflect to get out if you need to. Totally fine. Right? Horrible deflect. Okay? And now we get to this point here. Right? What is wrong with trying to go up here and trying to start fighting people?
It's easy for them to look at me because I'm by myself. Like nobody else is gonna to.
But also, and this is going to be more significant this time. What's that big problem with being up here right now?
Two things. I'd be playing in their reach, but outside of my team's reach, and there's a Winston on my team, so I'm cheating by like just going into the back line, but I could be helping.
Right. Yeah, yes, you can be helping doing this guy. You're just not really going to do anything about it. It's like nothing's actually going to really be done with that. It's better to kind of take a position and hold on to like whatever angle that you have and use it later. The problem is that this is too close, right? This is like we should be punishing this monkey. Playing up here and trying to fight up here is too close. Now, would playing up here help us punish the monkey? Yes, but again, do you have infinity HP like a tank would to be able to hold this? No.
No.
Right, and even if you were a tank, yeah, and you don't have deflect, and even if you were a tank, playing up here would still be stupid. You would want to play farther back, right? Okay, so we started shooting at Moira. right? Okay. Now I know you don't know about this currently, but right now, what are the closest things to you?
Uh, the music key
Right,
and
Mizuki.
like the music key, Winston, and Reaper are all about like the same
Right, 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 right,
distance.
right, right. Okay. What about the Emre right now? Is
Uh,
Emre pretty close?
I mean he's in dash distance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. All of
yeah,
these
I mean
guys
he's
are
in dash
yeah,
distance.
all of these guys are pretty close to you, right? So now of these guys who are here, who are the easiest for you to go for, right? Probably the Mizuki, probably the Emre, right? But you go for the ulting Reaper without deflect,
Uh,
right? So this is going to be an instance where it's like, okay, everything's close. I should probably be going for like the things that I would generally be considering to be target priority right now because everything's close. So I could just go
mm,
for this Emre right now or go for this Mizuki, but I don't have the information. So this is when you look around and you have to assess the fight, assess what's going to happen and what is close for me to actually be able to hit. Right, that kind of sucks.
I remember popping it as soon as I saw the Moira fade because I'm like, well, like I'm just gonna kill her now. But I didn't like
Mm-hmm.
look where she went.
Yeah, this is fine. I like that. Is this cheaty a little bit? Yes,
Yeah, a little bit because it's not a confirm.
but it is punishing an overextension from the samurai. So, and do you have the tools to be able to hold onto this angle now?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm fine with that. I'm comfortable with that. Fight the Moira, fight the Winston. Okay, Moira's here, so you fight that. Okay. And I think at this point, we killed out Moira. Go for the Reaper, but like your team is just kind of cooked at this point, yeah. It's just kind of over. Alright. So, we talked about a lot of things. We talked a lot about quite a bit. Let's kind of just go up here and let us end this off with some good ending points here.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, I forgot about that. I'm my thing on full screen. I gotta turn that to borderless. Okay.
Do you just want me to like
Hold on.
pick three things or?
Yeah. Hold on one
Okay.
second. I have to
Oh.
fix this because my pen, of course, is not working because obviously it doesn't want to because it hates me.
Do you use Magic Pen?
I use Epic Pen.
Oh, that's what.
Okay.
Maybe that's what it's called.
Okay. So, one, two, three things. What are three things that we can work on from this?
Okay. Um. Uh, Playing within my team's range and not like isolating myself within the other team's range.
Okay. Okay, so we could talk about reach. We could talk about reach, right? Okay, we can definitely talk about that. Okay, what else? What about your general positioning, the positional rules that you need to go by, right?
I need to
Well,
have.
actually, I'll just put that as staging, and then we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Right. So we got reach, we got staging. Now, another thing that I really want to kind of point out, because this is a consistent issue that we've had, right? Cooldowns.
A
And
lot
then,
of lot of bad deflects.
right, and then slash alt. Wait, alt. Right. So we can work on that. So first, let's go for staging here. Let's talk about
Okay.
the three things. The three things. What are the three things that we need to think about when it comes to our staging or our positioning?
I want to be thinking about like where the other team is looking, like where their focus is.
Okay. Well, so angles, right? Playing on an off angle. Yes.
I want to be. I want to be within my team's reach. Because they're like my.
Kind of. Sometimes it depends on the situation because you can play outside of your enemy, outside of your team's reach as well, right? When the enemy team's reach is smaller, right? But again, mainly the when we're talking about reach, what's that big concept that we need to be talking about managing when we're talking about our positioning
Distance.
Yeah, distance, right? So it's not just reach, but it's also just a matter of distance as well, right? And then that last thing, how do we know that we are going to get a value out of the positions that we are in, right? Where do we need to play?
Uh,
How do we avoid getting shot at from halfway across the map?
having cover.
Right. Cover, but more importantly than just cover, what else do we need as well?
Cover and high ground.
Okay, cover, high ground. We talked about cover, we talked about high ground, we talked about, those are all things that are beneficial to you as a Genji, right? So if we're talking and wrapping up all of those things together, because those are the types of things that we're looking for, we're going to be talking about the map architecture that you want.
Oh, right. Okay, having close angles so that like I get to
Right.
take close range engagements that are like good for my
Right.
character.
Right. So I'm just gonna put also in there like C, Q, C, like close quarters combat kind of thing. You know, I don't know if that works, but whatever. Okay, let's go back to reach. Right. Okay, when are you going to be inside of your team's reach? What?
When I I'm gonna be inside my team's reach when the other team's reach is farther than ours.
Right. Okay. So
'Cause
stack.
that's how I close the distance.
Okay, so stack when in enemy reach, right? Okay. So then when do you split? When do you split off?
Um, once like when I see an opportunity to take an off angle while still maintaining the distance
Okay.
with my team, like
So so
uh
so so split when not in enemy reach, essentially, right? So split when
but is it
not.
okay for me to split if I am in their reach but I'm also in my team's reach?
Yes. And well, if you're also in your team's reach, then that's being stacked, essentially. Right? That's essentially when
Okay.
you're talking about stacking versus splitting, it's basically about reach, right?
Okay, yeah, because if I'm on the other side of the fight, then like I'm like two times as far from my team.
Right, right,
Right.
right, 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 right. 100%,
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
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 And also just adding on just one additional thing, right? Take space when it's free, right? Just adding that on there because that's an incredibly important thing. Okay. Now, when we talk about cooldowns, right, especially with our deflect, what's the important thing that we need to know to have better deflects?
Um, I need to use it generally just to like help me hold power positions.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, that's what its purpose is for. It helps me hold space.
right. Used to hold power positions, right? So talking about deflects, right? Now, when we're talking about like our ultimates, right? When, okay, so when we're talking about our ults, and we're talking about how we're going to use our ultimates, one big thing that we did talk about was target priority with our alts, but also with our
Mhm.
cooldowns, but also with a lot of our trades. This is going to be a little bit iffy, kind of talking about directly putting them into the categories, but I do actually just want to add this as well. What's important when it comes to target priority?
Whoever is the easiest person, whoever is the person I can get the like most guaranteed value on.
Okay, so shoot who's easiest. That is not how that works. Easiest, right? So if we're talking about with our alt, if we're talking about with our cooldowns, right? Shoot, or I'm going to say hit so that it works better for Genji. Hit who's easiest. That's so There it is. OCD. Who's easiest? Okay. We did talk about a lot of things, but I think that this is pretty good. This stuff is pretty good for us to work on. Okay, so can you write these down? Can you take a screenshot of them?
I will take a screenshot.
Okay. All right. Just tell me when let me know when you've done that.
Sec. Not want to save that one. There we go.
Okay. I've taken a snippet of this and I will send it to you for redundancy's sake as well, because I know how screenshots can be. All right. Now, let's talk about practice and how we want to practice these things. Right? Okay.
Okay.
So, most important things for us to know when we're talking about practice, we want to focus and put as much focus as we can on these subjects one at a time. Right? The more targeted focus we have, the better. So, and I'm not talking about reach or staging or cooldown alt or slash alts. I want to talk about these individual smaller little categories, right? Focus on one of those things when practicing throughout the entirety of the game. So, for example, if I'm practicing taking off angles, right, or taking space when free, right, I'm going to practice like literally the entire game just thinking about where's my angle or what space is free, what space is free, what space is free, right, and thinking about that the entirety of the game while I'm trying to play that game, right? Okay. I know it's going to be hard to kind of practice and focus on these things for the entire duration of the game. If so, try and make the first 3 team fights perfect, and if you can't, continue practicing them throughout the rest of the game. If you can, then just like chill, if need be, right? If your brain is kind of fried, often happens. So, yeah, we got this in terms of practice, in terms of the order in which you can practice these things. First, practice the staging. That's going to be something that you're going to need for the rest of these things, right?
Okay.
Then we can try and practice understanding reach, because that's going to be a little bit more complicated, and it might be really beneficial to understanding your distance and understanding like how you're going to be positioning mid fight and in and against different compositions, right? And then also practicing the final thing would be practicing your cooldowns and your ultimates, because that's just going to be things that you're going to be able to practice all the time, right? So, and I think you probably are going to get these better eventually anyway, just by extension of noticing when you do use the cooldowns horribly, right, or the ults horribly. So that would kind of be the order of importance in terms of like how impactful these things will be in terms of practicing them. But again, it's all based off of fun, right? The more fun that you're having, the more focus that you can put in. So if you get bored of something, switch to something else or take a break, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Right? Do not try and go for 10-hour a day straight practice sessions. You're going to be out of it by hour 4. Right? I generally will do like 3 games in a row of practice with breaks in between the games, and then longer extended breaks after that. Right? Okay? Now, we talked about practice. We talked about all of these things that we want to practice. Do you have any questions for me?
Do you think VOD review is also like something I should do to like help learn these things, or do you think I should like just be like actually in the game and then
Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes.
okay.
Right. But what I'm trying essentially to say is VOD review is extremely important, going back into your games and seeing these things, because again, when you are in the game, a majority of your ability to actually kind of process information that's going on is going to be put into doing the things that you need to be doing, right? When you are outside of the game, it is so much easier to see stuff happening because you're not actually actively doing something. You have that mental bandwidth that is free, right? Okay. Also, just another thing that I forgot to say earlier, when you do practice these things, you are going to suck. It is okay, right? you are using a bunch of mental bandwidth that you would normally be using for a lot of different tasks at once and putting them more so towards one particular task. The longer that we put our focus towards this one task is the less mental bandwidth it takes over time, right? That's also why it's important to VOD review your games, because then you can have as much mental bandwidth as you possibly can to look for and identify areas of weakness when it comes to this regard. The more that you experience it, the more that you see it, and the more that you're able to kind of understand what the heck is going on and diagnosing problems, is the faster you'll be at improving at it in game. So I would definitely recommend it when it comes to VOD reviews. Okay. Any other
Yeah.
questions?
Okay. I mean, this is just a small thing, but like when I'm VOD reviewing, I've also heard that it's beneficial to like do it the same way I'm practicing the game, where it's like I'm VOD reviewing and I'm looking at this one specific aspect of my game, and I'm not worried about other stuff.
Yes.
Like I'm
Yes.
just
Yeah.
okay.
When you're doing VOD reviews, literally looking at one thing is also going to be extremely important as well, right? Because again, it's all about focus. The more focused our focus, right, the better that we're going to be at, kind of improving at these concepts individually, and we're going to be able to do that faster, right? And the better we can get things out of the way with, and then practice other things, the better we're going to be over time. Okay.
Yeah. It
All
makes
right.
sense.
So, any other questions?
Um. No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. All right. So then we will end the.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. This is like.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
I
no,
just
no,
thought of
no,
one
that's
more
fine.
thing. What? Okay. The way you explained like how deflect works, and like how like Genji's the guy who like challenges those power positions,
Right.
like made it a little more clear to me. But um, with hit scans, that like makes a little more sense to me. But I guess like understanding, like I have trouble understanding what makes a certain character good in certain situations versus others. Like I don't really. To me, like Genji and Tracer are like almost identical in like their job.
Okay.
But I think that that's not true. But I don't understand like
Okay.
like why you would want a Tracer in this situation versus why you would want a Genji in this situation.
Right.
And I don't know if that's like too big of a question to ask at the end, but
No, no, no. I think it's an extremely important question to ask, and the idea is that different heroes only have different jobs because they have different tools, right? The way that you would want to play the game is going to be the same no matter what hero you play, right? You take the space that you want, set up the angles, what you want, apply pressure in the same way. And the big baseline is that you, when it comes to the differences between heroes, a lot of the times it's just going to be the differences in terms of the space that they want, and then the differences in terms of their ability to kind of change their distance or set up their angles better or worse, or when it comes to how long they can kind of sustain into a fight for, or their interactions with other characters. There's a lot of different things that you can add onto that and think about when it comes to optimizing which character you would want in which situation. But majority of the time, you want to look at based off of space, right? What character can control what kinds of space, right? And then if you're trying to build a composition in terms of synergizing off of each other, right? What character plays to the situations that we would want to kind of create for ourselves the best, right? So if I'm playing a Winston, I would rather a Tracer on my team than a Genji, because a Tracer has the similar kind of range and reach that I do. And if that's what I'm playing for as my advantage, then a Tracer is going to be better at doing that, or at following up with that, than a Genji would, right? So I guess playing the characters based off of the advantages that we would want to utilize would be a big part of what character we would pick, but mainly it's going to be what types of space do we want to control, and then that would kind of give you the basis of what type of character you would pick first, right? And then from there, it's going to be more personal preference, and then it's going to be some minor optimizations that aren't going to get too important until you get pretty higher up in level. But majority of the time, playing a Genji versus a Mei versus a Reaper versus a Junkrat. All of these characters control the tight range spaces really well, and from that, it depends on personal preference and counter picks more often than not. Right?
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, that makes more sense.
Okay.
Um, I have one more, if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Why not?
Um, this is like a pretty specific question, I guess, but like, I don't know how to play against Ball. Like,
Okay.
anytime we run into a Ball, he just it's I don't know. Like we just it's bad. I don't know how to play against Ball. I don't understand.
Okay. So how to play against Ball is the thing that's a little bit concerning to me about the question is the fact that you're saying that as like a flex DPS player that's playing into a Ball, right? Generally speaking, does the Ball like want to interact with you throughout the majority of the game?
Uh, I mean, yeah.
I mean,
I'm just
kind
trying
of
to.
sometimes, right? But like majority of the time, he's trying to go for backline majority of the time, right? Or he's doing his own
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
right?
I see. Yes, yeah.
If that's the case and he is doing that, the best thing you can do is the easiest thing you can do, which is oftentimes not chasing the ball, right?
Hmm.
And I think that's a problem that a lot of players kind of get themselves into, where they'll just like think, "Oh no, ball is screwing up my backline. I got to go and chase the ball." The biggest thing about ball is that he isn't like Diva or Rissa or a lot of those other characters that can anchor for his team. So he has a very, very little, small ability to be able to actually kind of adjust his or help his team stage for angles. So a big
Hmm.
way of playing against Ball is just taking that staging first and then stopping him from trying to compromise that with his hits, right? So you can CC him to annoy the crap out of him, sure, right? But the major way that you deal with Ball is just oftentimes just pretending that he's not even there, and then getting as much space as you can other ways and doing anything else. Do whatever's easiest. But the way that you play the game will not change depending on what you're going up against. It's going to stay the
Okay.
same. The only thing that really changes would be like the exact positions that you would take in certain situations. Like if you're playing against characters that are just better than you in the spaces that you want to contest, then you would change and alter it based off of that. But
Hmm.
mainly, you just keep playing in the positions that are good for your heroes and then doing what's easiest for you to do. Sometimes what those things may be might change, right? Because of the
Hmm.
nature of the characters and the differences there. But doing what is the easiest is going to hold up as the most important thing for you to do. All right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now that has kind of been said, I think that will be it for the video portion of this session. So, do you want to say goodbye to everybody watching?
Yeah. Bye bye.
All right. All right. Peace.